You don't increase your life by taking somebody else's. Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're making a response video to Melanie Murphy, and we've had a heap of requests, people asking us to make a response to her recent video, Why I'm No Longer Vegan.
And possibly the hardest thing about being vegan is watching videos like this and listening to people's endless excuses and justifications for killing animals.
And watching videos like this makes us extremely angry and frustrated, and it's just like tearing your hair out basically, because someone like Melanie has a huge social media presence. She's speaking this message to over 350,000 people on YouTube, and it's very, very destructive.
So our response video today is not for Melanie. She's too far gone. She's heard it all before, she's tried this. She just doesn't want to go vegan. She's a perfect example of when someone doesn't want to go vegan, they'll say anything and do anything to justify their selfish desire to continue to eat animals.
And it always starts with the same old, well, I tried vegan for a little while, but it didn't suit me. It's kind of like they just want to cross it off the list so they can say, well, I tried it. See, I tried it. And I can't do it. It's not for me. So it's just this weird justification.
And our video today is to counter her dangerous message to help educate other people.
So usually when we make a response video, the first thing we say is education. But apparently Melanie has all the education. She said that she's read up about veganism, she's read all the books imaginable, she's even watched the animal abuse videos, she knows all about the environment, she's got all the information. And yet, she still continues to justify her want to eat animals.
And this is apathy at its greatest. And apathy is one of the most destructive forces on the planet today. Knowing, but not caring enough to change one's habits. So we've taken out a few key points from Melanie's video and we're going to respond.
Massively respect people who are vegan. It's a very difficult thing to do.
Rubbish, Melanie. It's not very difficult to put your hand up and say, I will no longer support cruelty towards animals with my dollar.
Like any change in life, going vegan is as simple or as difficult as you choose it to be.
After about a year or two, I discovered that I was feeling extremely tired, and my hair and my skin and my nails, everything wasn't just as good as it had been. I got blood tests and found that I was lacking in certain vitamins and nutrients and stuff like that, which was shocking. But then I found out that you need to take supplements of certain things when you follow a vegetarian or vegan diet. Then I watched some PETA videos of animals getting hurt in factory farms, and I was disgusted and upset, so I cut out dairy as well.
So this period of time Melanie was talking about, she was eating dairy. Now dairy is void of iron, and it also blocks the absorption of iron, so this leads to anemia and feeling tired. As far as hair, skin and nail problems, they often occur as a result of not eating enough calories, which leads to vitamin and mineral deficiencies. If you'd simply eaten enough calories from a variety of whole plant foods, you would have got all the vitamins and minerals you needed and would have had perfect hair, skin and nails. As far as supplements go, let us be very clear, the only supplement that is required on a vegan diet is vitamin B12. And in fact, that goes for any diet, because vitamin B12 is produced by microbes in the soil, and anybody can be B12 deficient. In fact, we were B12 deficient as meat eaters.
So to give a bit of background and context to this, Melanie was very overweight as a teenager. She ate a lot of junk food, a lot of processed food, and she got really big. She decided to cut out the junk food, the processed food. She started cooking more at home and she started exercising, and she lost a lot of weight. But then she continued more of a restrictive diet, and she wanted to get thinner and thinner. She also increased her exercise a lot, and she developed orthorexia, which is like an obsession with clean eating. And this led to cravings because she wasn't eating enough, and then she would binge. She would go on these huge binges where she would eat, as she mentioned, about 10,000 calories in another video. And then of course she would restrict again and feel terrible about herself, crave again, binge again, this horrible cycle. It is an eating disorder. And this reminds us very much of Jordan Younger, who's also known as the Balanced Blonde on social media, and she recently wrote a book called Breaking Vegan.
And these girls are blaming a vegan diet for their health problems when in actual fact it is their eating disorders, calorie restriction and resultant vitamin and mineral deficiencies that are causing the problem, not the vegan diet. The reason we get so worked up about this is because this is passive-aggressive fear-mongering about a vegan diet to their hundreds of thousands of impressionable social media followers.
During university, I saw a nutritionist and an eating disorder specialist, and I was told to stop removing food groups from my diet for the purpose of health and weight loss. So I started incorporating everything into my diet again, including meat and some dairy, and I felt so much better. I felt way less miserable. Like, I was miserable when I was eating vegan.
We receive countless messages from young girls telling us that their parents have taken them to a doctor, a nutritionist, a dietitian, and they've been told that they must eat meat, dairy and eggs. Let us be very clear here. When 14 of the 15 leading causes of our death have been scientifically linked to eating animal products, we do not need to consume meat, dairy and eggs at all.
Just because somebody with a piece of paper tells you to do something doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean that you should be listening to that. Now, in terms of binge eating, we'd like to give you an example of somebody we worked with earlier this year. A young woman came to us, she weighed 340 pounds, and her story was like worst case scenario. She suffered with eating disorders her entire life, from anorexia to obesity, everything in between. She'd seen every specialist you could imagine. She was hospitalized, she had breakdowns, she was suicidal, and she was a mess, and the binging, the cravings controlled every part of her brain and body. However, after 1 week, 7 days of eating what we promote and what we eat ourselves, a high carbohydrate, low fat, predominantly whole plant foods, vegan diet, miraculously, the cravings disappeared. Why? Because she ate abundantly. She aimed to eat 2,500 calories a day. No starvation, no restriction, unlimited calories from the right sources of food. And it was the first time in her life that her brain and the cells of her body were fed exactly what they needed, glucose, enough of it, to function properly. And that's when the cravings stopped. That's when the binge eating stopped.
Like, my social life has always revolved around food. I love eating out with my friends and family. I found it very difficult to enjoy my life to the fullest extent when I was limiting myself.
Everyone's social life revolves around eating food. So just eat vegan food. Even if you're eating with non-vegan people, continue to enjoy your vegan food, knowing that you're helping people, animals and the planet with your dietary choices. You don't have to engage in conversation about veganism with your non-vegan family and friends if you don't want to. Just continue to eat your peaceful food, and that's it. You can continue to enjoy a social life.
Yeah, and this whole idea of my life is limited. You know, there was a lot of me and I and mine. Hello, there's things outside of the self that really, really matter. You don't increase your life by taking somebody else's.
And I used to salivate over meat.
Yet another indication that you are simply not eating enough calories. We are not carnivores, we are herbivores. Therefore, we do not salivate over meat. If you pass roadkill, do you salivate? No, you don't. Why? It's a free meal because we don't have carnivorous instincts. We are herbivores. You were simply not eating enough calories, period.
And we know this from personal experience because we are ethical vegans. And the only time I have craved meat and salivated over meat is when we were going through a healthy detox cleanse. Basically, I was starving myself. I was so hungry. My BMI went down to anorexic. And that's the only time that I have ever wanted meat as a vegan.
And I met a friend of mine called Paul Keeley, and he has a degree in nutrition and stuff like that, and he had undergone this massive transformation. Like, he looked like the healthiest guy I've ever seen in my life. He looked amazing, and I was like, what are you doing? And he was eating mostly paleo with a couple of days a week where he'd have whatever he wants.
Enter the friend who looks amazing and healthy and has had this incredible transformation. Oh my God, how many times do we have to hear this? All right, for starters, he had a nutrition degree. Big deal. Most nutrition degrees are funded and written by the meat, dairy and egg industries, therefore they're biased. Secondly, the reason most people who are on a paleo diet report an amazing health transformation is because they've come from a standard Western diet and they've cut out dairy and processed foods. Of course, you're going to instantly feel better and your health is going to improve. It doesn't mean that it's optimal.
And this obsession with what people look like. You look healthy. Anyone can look healthy. You can get plastic surgery, redo your whole body, and you're going to look healthy. It is so superficial. Health is what happens on the inside. 14 of the 15 leading causes of death are caused by animal foods. So I don't care what you look like on the outside. It's what's happening on the inside. And I remember having a conversation with a woman at the gym. She was like 50 years old. She was a mother. And she was, saying that she was following somebody on the internet that was paleo and they had amazing abs. And I'm trying to tell her, look, you're eating 5 eggs a day. That is seriously setting you up for heart disease. And she turned around and said to me, but do you have a 6-pack? And I'm like, are you freaking serious? I got this woman in her 50s that's more concerned about 6 muscles in my gut than her bloody heart.
As far as
it's so superficial.
I
like,
know,
it just,
I know.
Come on.
As far as we're concerned, there should only be one measure for health. Our leading cause of death is heart disease. Now, you can only be heart attack proof if you have a cholesterol of 150 or below. And you can only have that reading if you're eating a low-fat, predominantly whole foods, vegan diet, because the only source of dietary cholesterol is animal products. Plant foods contain no cholesterol whatsoever. Dietary cholesterol raises blood cholesterol, which is the sole risk factor for heart disease, our world's leading cause of death.
He explained to me how a lot of the vegan studies have been debunked. He showed me very up-to-date research. He explained to me how pretty much like every population and tribe in the world has not sustained itself on a vegetarian or vegan diet, and our brains are the size that they are because we always ate animal products.
I'm going to let you handle this one.
One does not simply debunk the largest ever nutritional study ever undertaken that took decades to perform, compile, and present. Dr. Neil Barnard's program for reversing diabetes is scientifically proven to be 3 times more effective than any other diabetes program, and that's based around a low-fat, predominantly whole foods, vegan diet. Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn is clinically reversing heart disease, our leading cause of death, with a low-fat, predominantly whole foods, vegan diet. Dr. Michael Greger has demonstrated that 14 of the 15 leading causes of death are scientifically linked to eating animal products. This is a clinical physician specializing in nutrition.
And you can find just about anything on the internet these days to debunk everything and anything. But science is science, and all we have to do is apply a bit of common sense here. Let's take a look at our hospital beds. Who are they filled with? People eating meat, dairy and eggs, or low-fat vegans? A little bit of common sense here. When rice and broccoli and tofu are linked to heart disease, cancer and diabetes, then we'll be concerned. And all of these claims about ancient cultures and the size of our brain and whatever, that has been dealt with by plant-based doctors many times over. We'll put some links down below.
Because we noticed Melanie didn't provide any links. She was just talking about hearsay.
But what I follow and believe in and that I propose to everyone is ethical omnivorism. And what this means is, first off, really minimizing the amount of meat that you consume, and second off, sourcing it locally and supporting local farmers. Like in Ireland, I'm very lucky. In Ireland, we have amazing farms, and I've been on farms and I see how the animals are treated, and it's nothing like those PETA videos.
And this is the most disgusting part of her video and her thinking and the destructive message that she's spreading. I don't care what your Irish farms look like. You need to go to an Irish abattoir. That's what you need to see. It doesn't matter what the pretty little cow is like in the pretty little field in your pretty little Irish mountains. It's what happens at the end of their life. Because every single animal that ends up on your plate has a bolt gun to the head and a knife in its throat, and that's what matters. So until you spend your time in the abattoirs, I don't want to hear it. And this privileged, ridiculous assumption that people can eat free range and local and organic and grass-fed,
I mean, if we decide collectively as a species that killing another being that wants to live is ethically wrong, then ethical omnivorism is an oxymoron.
And it's not even possible to have everybody eating the way you're suggesting. It is actually worse for the environment than factory farming. It is impossible because so much land is needed for these animals. The reality is that the vast majority of animal foods are coming from factory farms, and that is the only way we can all continue to eat animal foods. No matter what the living conditions, at the end of the day, these animals are aware they don't want to die. They don't want to have their life taken. They know what's going on. They are scared. They want to live.
And if we're going to justify killing someone because they've had a good life, well, then that's just opening Pandora's box to ethical rape, ethical child molestation, because to the victim, the violation of their body and their right to life is the crime, irrespective of their living conditions up to that point.
For me, it feels right to eat animals, and I'm not gonna say I would never eat a cat, I would never eat a dog because I see them as pets. I would eat any animal. I feel like humans are part of the circle of life, like in The Lion King. I feel
this is not a bloody cartoon. This is so sick. It's sick.
I don't believe Melanie for a moment that she would actually eat a cat or a dog. And if you would, Melanie, put it in your next What I Eat in a Day video.
Yeah, let's see you're following then. The circle of life. I mean, seriously, Melanie, we'd love to drop you in the jungle without any tools and weapons. No gun, no spear, no knife. Use what you were born with, okay? Your hands and your big claws and your big sharp teeth. Take down an animal, eat that. Eat it. But you can't.
It's all very well for you to sit there and say what you're saying while you just go to the supermarket and you hand over some money for a pretty plastic wrapped package that you have been completely disconnected from. Go into the slaughterhouse, look that animal in the eye, put the bolt gun on its head and then slit its throat, and then come back to us and see if you're still the whole circle of life thing.
Different diets really do suit different people. Every single person is very different on the inside of their body and what their requirements are.
So this is where it's really clear that Melanie has zero idea. She's talking bullshit.
Absolutely. Just like all cows were designed to eat grass and all lions were designed to eat gazelle, all humans are herbivores and designed to eat plants. Period. End of discussion. We are physiologically and anatomically designed to eat plants. We are far more similar than we are different. Get that thought out of your head.
You can cut us open and you're going to find the same thing. We're not going to differ. That's why we all get sick from the same diseases. Heart disease is not linked to rice and broccoli for some people, okay? And steak and eggs for others. It's just not happening.
People keep mentioning Freelee, the banana girl, to me. She's one of the people who led me into developing orthorexia.
And this is where it comes down to the individual and just how they approach things, what their intention was, because guess what? We also had an eating disorder. We were orthorexic. Funny how we came across Freelee the banana girl and that cured our orthorexia. It didn't cause it. She and the diet she promotes, which is high carb, low fat, whole plant foods, vegan, is what saved us, is what is sitting here today healthy and fit. So it's what you are, how you're approaching something, what your mental state of mind is, basically what you're looking for. You can blame and attach your eating disorder to just about anything and anyone. At the end of the day, if you're doing it properly, it's gonna work. And if you're not doing it properly, it ain't gonna work. So that's our response video today. Hope this has helped clarify many of the things Melanie said.
Leave your comments down below, like, share and subscribe. And remember, until next time, going vegan is not the most we can do.
It's the least we can do. See you next video.
Bye guys.
So how do you actually go vegan? Step one is education. This is so important.